Hello, Brickdark here. Today I'm reviewing the LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens Poe Dameron's X-Wing fighter, which has 3 minifigures, 1 droid, 717 pieces, and retailed for $80 back when it released back in 2015. So our first minifigure is Poe Dameron himself. This is him in his pilot uniform, which I don't think is exclusive, but it doesn't come in too many sets, I think. This set and then his X-Wing fighter from earlier this year, which was $10 more. I think that's about it. The helmet is a really nice dual molded bit with that visor molded in. And it's got a little microphone on the side. This print does come in, I think, his X-Wing fighter from this year, though I'm not too sure. The torso print's quite common for a lot of Resistance fighters. It comes in a microfighter. It just comes in a lot of sets. His face print underneath is the same face print they've used for 5 years. But back in 2015 when this was first introduced, it was a pretty cool face print. I never really understood that little mark between his eyebrows, but that's there. It comes with a little blaster rifle. Very cool figure. Here's another Resistance pilot who I think is actually based on a real pilot. Something Page. I can't really remember the name, I just remember Page is like the last name. Comes with an exclusive helmet print, which is pretty cool. It's nice to get that helmet in another color. Same torso print. And that new face for 2015, which I believe they introduced with this Force Awakens line. Again, that mark in the middle, I never understood what that was. But yeah, that's about it for this Resistance pilot. Here's the Resistance ground crew member. Now, this guy may have a name. I honestly don't really know. When I looked back in the instruction manual, it just said Resistance ground crew, so that's what I'm going to call him. He does have this very interesting piece I don't think we've seen reprinted. It's got some nice orange and olive green just goes over his head. And he's got a very interesting face print. It's similar to the Frog Lady from the Mandalorian episode 2. You can make a good custom using that face print. And I believe 2 exclusive bits with the torso and the legs. Just overall, very interesting character that is remained exclusive to this set, and I find that pretty nice. It's not a super rare character everyone wants to get, but it's a nice character that they didn't really need to make exclusive, but they decided to anyway, and I feel like that's pretty cool. Looking at this from the year being 2020, nearly 2021, this BB-8 figure is absolutely nothing special, but back in 2015, this was the cheapest way to get it. The only other set it came in was the Millennium Falcon, which was, I think, double the price. It came with 2 new bits, being this circular round body bit, which has prints on all 4 sides, and all of them are different, which I find very cool, as well as this new headpiece, which has a very cute big fur or whatever it is. Very just cute design. And I'm pretty sure they actually managed to get the lines around it pretty straight. Because usually on the normal Astromechs, there's usually a really big curve and it's just really annoying. But they managed to do it pretty well on the BB-8. Pretty cool figure. But we've seen it a bunch since then. But for back in 2015, it's a really cool figure. So here is Poe's X-Wing. I have to say, one thing I have to point out right away is I have an older model, and I got this way back for Christmas 2015, nearly 5 years ago at this point. 5 years tomorrow, I'm recording this on Christmas Eve. And the older system that they used from, I think, 2012 to 2020 is rubber bands. The new 2021 X-Wing does not use rubber bands. But what happens with rubber bands, especially if you display it with the S folds out, they really start to weaken. So, really, the model looks like this when it's landed. And it looks really good. However, I have older rubber bands, so that's why they look like that. It's not a knock against the set. It's just a thing you will need to know. And if you have any X-Wing released from the 2012 X-Wing to the 2020 X-Wing, any of those X-Wings, this will happen over time, and you will need to replace the rubber bands if you want it to look good. And I don't recommend displaying this with the S folds out, which causes this deterioration much, much faster. Don't think they're too expensive, but yeah, that's with that out of the way, this set is really good. It's got a very unique color scheme. You never see this color scheme on X-Wing. It's got a much better color scheme, I feel like, than the 2020 X-Wing, which had an orange and white color scheme with some blue and gray mixed in that just did not really mix well. This one is just two colors, being that orange and black, as well as a bit of gray. Now, looking at the front, you do have some landing gear that can be folded up when you want to fly the set away, which is nice. On the side, you also have some stud shooters, which you push down, they fire the stud. Old as 2014. Then looking up here, you do have this cockpit piece, which you can fit Poe Dameron inside. There's a little control panel and a little place to even hold his weapon. It's a bit hard to see. I don't even think you can really see it. We'll just see. And then there's also a little control panel that's just fallen down the side, so I'll retrieve that later. But just know that it's a stickered control panel, and it looks pretty good. Now, up top, moving up top, you can see there's a little space to fit BB-8 just on a 1x1 jumper. There's some sticker detailing. Now, one thing I don't like is these engines. These engines are not attached very strongly. They fall off very easily. I don't know if that's just because of age, but I remember them doing this even when I had the set newly built. This is a problem shared by the Resistance X-Wing from 2016, since it's basically the same design. And yeah, it's just very annoying. These fall off a lot. Like, they have a good design. I think the design is good, but the connection's bad. There's some more sticker detailing on the sides of the wings. And now, what I'm sure you're all waiting for is to see me flip this thing up into attack position. And to do that, there is a little knob you turn. And yeah, this is what it looks like in attack position. It looks really good. You have a spring-loaded shooter on each wing, so you can fire them off very easily. They just work as you would expect spring-loaded shooters to. You can hold it from here. It's pretty sturdy. The only thing that might fall off are the engines. But yeah, looks very nice. I wouldn't recommend displaying it like this since it deteriorates the rubber bands. But you do have some nice continuity with the orange stripe there. That's on all four of these. Looks very nice. And just overall, this really nice black and orange color scheme. It really helps make this set stand out from a lot of the other X-Wings we've gotten. I do really like it. Again, the engines being as weak as they are, this does not sit well with me. But I think, for what it's worth, this is a really good model and looks really nice. But that's not all the builds in this set. There's also two tiny little builds that we'll take a look at now. And the two other little filler builds to maybe get this set over 700 pieces are this little cart and this little ladder. The ladder actually does line up pretty well with the cockpit, so that's really nice. You can have Poe climb up on this. The cart is nothing special. You can have the Resistance ground crew. You can hold the wrench. He can pilot the thing. Nothing that special. There's room to fit quite a few minifigures on him, maybe 4, not including the driver. Then you do have a very poorly placed sticker from 5 years ago. They've just never bothered to fix. There's some studs in there, as well as some extra ammunition and some more clips. Just attaches via a jumper. There's some lights at the front, as well as these little parts to make the thing seem like it's hovering and move across solid surfaces easily. These are definitely just padding builds. I would have maybe preferred if they were cut and the price went down from like 80 to 70. However, I say that, and then like you have the Rebel X-Wing from 2018, which was the same price but didn't include any extra builds, and then the Resistance X-Wing from 2020, which only had the ladder and was $90. So, yeah. That's about it for the builds of this set. The instructions are pretty big, At the back, it just randomly shows this. I don't really know, it just kind of shows the stats of the set, but like really basic stuff, like the piece count and what ship type, Starfighter, WoW. And then you have the Force Awakens wave, the minifigure checklist, and I said this in the Special Forces TIE video, but the only one I don't have that I want is that transport, because it's not only is it just a solid set, but it's also the only good set with Phasma. And I don't have Phasma, so it's kind of a set I do want. So overall, I really do like this set, and I feel like it's a great opponent to the Special Forces TIE Fighter. It's something based off of that new movie that you can have them pit against. Imagine Christmas 2015, a lot of kids being very happy getting this and the Special Forces TIE Fighter. And looking at this as a set on its own, I really like it. There's not a lot of problems with it. The only one really being that the engines are not attached very sturdily, though that may be because of age, though I don't think it is. I'm also not a fan of these two builds kind of just being padding. They're not offensive. I don't mind their inclusion, but I feel like it's just kind of, hey, this set's $80, and this is why. You could have easily made this, like, you could have not included those builds, and not a lot would change. Now, the minifigures, I do like the minifigures. BB-8, we've seen him a lot, but he's always nice to get. He's never a bad inclusion. He's just been included in maybe a little too much. Poe is a good figure who doesn't come in that many sets. I'm not even sure if it's the same version that comes in the 2020 X-Wing. You might have a lighter torso print, I'm not too sure. And then there's other two minifigures that are completely exclusive, have at least some exclusive part to them. And that's really cool. And the color scheme of this is very appealing. Now, would I recommend you get this? If you just want an X-Wing and that's it, no. I would not recommend you get this, because there's going to be a $50 X-Wing coming out that looks decent. I'm not going to say it looks amazing I'm not going to really judge how it looks until I have it in hand. But there is a $50 X-Wing coming out, and that is much cheaper than even this was at retail price, let alone whatever it is on eBay now. But if you like The Force Awakens, then I do think this is a good ship to get. Poe's X-Wing from 2020, I feel like it had a bit of a clashing color scheme. The $90 price tag is just really too high for an X-Wing in my opinion. It had better minifigures, I will say that. I think the minifigures in the 2020 Poe's X-Wing are better than the figures here, but there was just some odd design choices that I feel like this set is better in. The color scheme is a lot better. The functionality is just basically the same. Not a lot has really changed from this X-Wing to the 2020 X-Wing. And so, if you like The Force Awakens, if you like Poe Dameron, if you like the Assault on Starkiller, then I would recommend you get this set, pay the extra $40, $50, whatever it is, to get this on eBay. But if you don't really care, if you just kind of want an X-Wing, just get the 2021 version. It's just cheaper, and while I don't think it's as strong a model as this, it is still cheaper, and it looks... A kid will be satisfied. Anyone will really be satisfied with a 2021 X-Wing if you just want an X-Wing. If you want specifically Poe's X-Wing but don't feel like spending $90 on a creamsicle, then I'd recommend you get this one. But that's about it for this video. See you guys later. Peace.